before that life, you and I were in the political arena, but simply one of the many who worked for the system. We had found out about the Drex while they were utilizing the government systems. And I worked in different agents. You and I worked in different agencies, and we knew each other through the communications which we handled for our departments. We talked for years on the communication network with each other, and then we finally met at an agency meeting in one of the major cities. There was something between us then, as we would sneak away during the meetings and get our own room and make passionate love to each other. That was the first time for us, as we both had mates at the time and even children. After that, we both wanted to leave our mates, but the religious doctrines of that world were so strict that if a person did not adhere to the order of things, there would be a great punishment, even death. We both knew the risks, but we would take a trip at least once a month to see each other anyhow. Our secret love affair went on for years, until one day, and of course it had to be so, we were caught, but not by the agency we worked for, but one of the alien patrols who had helped instigate the demanding rules and regulations of the planet. They had monitors on everyone who worked for any government agency, as they wanted everyone to just do their job, and happiness was not an option nor a concern on their part. They had been monitoring us as we would leave the city limits where we lived, so they had known for some time what we were doing. When we were caught and imprisoned, they showed us all the tapes they took of us with our affair. To them, they found it very humorous. You and I lost everything, because now we were in separate prisons for being in love. That planet was so strange, a virtual prison camp of a world, just like the Earth today, said Ursha. Wow, miss, we have been through hell and back, I said. Yes, we have. We were both sentenced to life, and we knew there was no escape. But both of us began to have interesting dreams, and I would say that it was because we wanted to be together, and because we couldn't, our desire for each other was very great. After years, I started catching on to leaving my body while I slept, and so did you, and we would meet in different places all the time. At first, we didn't know what we were doing, and by chance happened to meet each other in the other worlds. The first time we saw each other, we really wondered if it was each other we were seeing. Then, as we got used to where we were at, we began to have fun. Our love affair now continued while our physical body slept. All we did was make love wherever we were at. At times, there were strange patrols of soldier-like creatures who would be around looking for something, but they never saw us, as we became like the wind together, and we learned to fly and disappear very fast. I would say that we were motivated because we didn't want to get caught, and all we wanted was to be together. As the years went on, our bodies finally gave way, and they were destroyed. When that happened, we were both in the astral world, but something was holding us to only certain areas, and we could not go beyond them. Something strange happened while we were in this place of limbo. As we wandered around trying to find a way into a higher region, we happened to meet a rather mysterious fellow. He would stand alone, usually under this huge tree, and never speak to anyone. You and I never spoke to the man and thought him to be a little out of it. As we continued to look for ways out of the arena we were in, we would constantly notice this fellow in so many of the places we went. Then, one time when we were passing him, he said, "I know what you need," and that was all he said. At first, you and I did not pay attention to him, and actually began running in the other direction when we heard him speak for the first time. It was a while before we saw him again. Then, one day we did, and for some reason he waved to us. You and I stopped and watched him as he waved several times, as we thought it was rather funny. And then, this fellow started laughing too, so we took a chance and went over to him. At first, he just smiled as all of us looked at each other. Then I asked, "Who are you, sir?" Again, he smiled and said, "I know what you two need." You and I stood back for a moment and discussed what was going on. Then we went over to him and asked, "Okay, sir, what do we need?" As you asked first, then I followed up as he didn't say anything right away. "You need me," he said as he smiled. And we then thought he was really crazy as we walked away, but then he said, "You want a way out and I know the way out," he said as he giggled a bit. "Are we really hearing this?" I whispered to you as we looked over at the man. "Yes, you are," said the man, as I knew he could not hear us from where we were. Then we both laughed like kids and walked over to him to see what this was all about. Boy, oh boy, did we get an earful from then on. This strange man began to tell us about the lifetimes we had been in the psychic worlds and dimensions, as he seemed to know us very well. We listened for the longest time. You too must return to the physical realm and continue your education with your lives, as it is there you will come to know what you need. You cannot comprehend this, but you are actually seeing what is taking place in this very moment, as someday you will know what I mean. The both of you have a very special future, as it is lifetimes from now in the future, and the moment will come. He said, "Sir, we do not want to be separated anymore. We want to be together always," said Ursha in the experience. "You will finally have some moments together as you re-enter this time, but you must understand something, and that is you must go the course with what is coming up for you, as it is all part of the expansion of who you really are. The lifetimes you must endure will pass, as all things do, but what you both will end up with is so much more than you can comprehend. Now, if the both of you will please follow me, I will guide you to your next position," he said as he turned and walked away as we followed him into what eventually became the entrance to a dark tunnel, but at a certain point he actually disappeared. You and I stopped and looked around, and we thought for a moment we had been fooled by this fellow, but then everything was blank for us, as I saw it on the view as it had blackened. "What happened, Lou?" I asked. "We had made the choice to go back. Then suddenly we were going back, as we had to go through the dark tunnel first. Then, for that lifetime where we were together a lot more, but then came the invasion to the planet we were on, and we were once again separated for lifetimes, as we did come in contact with each other now and then. Finally, I went to another galaxy altogether, where I eventually became the mermaid, while you were battling in some distant world and system. The dark forces of the Callum God," said Lou. In one of Paul's books, he wrote about some of the many lifetimes he spent going all over the place. And as the is brought him to it told Paul how he had failed so many times before and what I guessed would be establishing himself in reality. It really does take a lot for us to get out of the psych realms, doesn't it? I asked. "Oh, for sure, Dwayne. What Paul created in 1965 was just the elementary beginning, as all those who became part of the membership thought they had come to the ultimate. But here is how life itself continually expands as there becomes those who interfere with the natural process of the all-is in the psych realm, and do not keep up or even know how to do so. You already know this as you have lived it, and it would appear from the human awareness that just because some people are good at creating a front that there is really something there. The psych realms is a big circus for the most part, but all of us do learn a lot, she said. Let's get back to your departure from your planet, I said, as she shifted scenes. The Mer people, all of us, completed the saucers in a month and a half. We had built over 300 ships, which had enough capacity to take everything we needed. On the day we completed all of them, Yabel personally returned and congratulated us. It is most certainly imminent of what will occur, as you have also seen on The View. I would suggest going as soon as possible, because there are a lot of crazies running around and doing a lot of damage right now, said Yabel, as I had to ask him about you, Dwayne, after all the research I had done. Yabel, sir, I will most certainly meet with the one I have been searching for, as I have seen it on The View. Is that true? I asked, as I wanted another confirmation for my heart to know that it was so. Of course, Ursha, it will be so for you. It is your destiny to be with him again after all this time. What you and he will do will be something so special. And you know, it was he who came to you in that experience where he was light and you cried, he said as he smiled and hugged me. I felt it was so, but I wanted to hear it from you. Thank you so much for being with us, I said as I hugged him back, and then he bowed and disappeared. I was so elated, and my sisters thought I was a little too far gone with it. But I didn't care, and as I slept later, I found myself once again going up into the sky as I did before. This time I knew where I was going, and as I went through the clouds, there you were, all brilliant light. You came to me, and I finally recognized you as you looked at me. As I stretched out my hands to you, I noticed I was also light. I could now better understand the impressions as they were coming from you, as you told me your name, Du, and then you said my name, Yulu, which I had not recognized before. You told me that you and I are one of the special realities that the All-Is had decided, and that I would also become as you, as I matured, and that there would be nothing ever stopping us from forever being together. You took my hand and led me higher into the light, and then you pointed off in the great distance. What suddenly appeared was a giant shaft of light with a swirling effect to it as it went downward. It was streaming like a gigantic tornado from the huge sun in the sky. Then I very clearly heard you say, "The new wave, Yulu, it is so real. It is starting now as you make your journey to the new world, which will be your home until we leave it. Look into the light," you said, and as I did, I saw two enormous radiant figures staring at us. Then I perceived the two beings to be you and I, and as I watched all the dazzling, brilliant light swirling around us, we soon merged and became one with the light. Then my sisters woke me up again. "Ursha, you were making some real funny noises and a lot of bubbles coming from your mouth while you were asleep," said Lana, as they both laughed, as I was still dazed by where I had been. "Were you dreaming of your new lover?" asked Shesh, as they continued to giggle. "Well, yes, it was something like that. What did I say?" I asked them, as they just kept laughing and wouldn't tell me. Oh, how you adored him and you wanted to make him a fish dinner every day, said Shesh, as all the girls laughed at once. I did not say such a thing because I wouldn't have. You two are being funny again. I was in a marvelous place of light, and both of us were so beautifully wrapped in all the light of the surrounding, said Ursha. Why can't you and I have dreams like that, Lana? Asked Shesh, as she was rather serious. Wow, Lou, another great bedtime story for me. Will the viewing audience even be able to handle some of this? I asked her jokingly. I would say that those who want something wonderful and great in their life, they will certainly begin to see it if they have the heart to. Fortunately, most of the human world knows about Peter Pan and Wendy. So some people do have a head start in developing their imagination with reality and then eventually being guided into the real universes. Then there are those who are more interested in the Captain Hook idea of rulership and being the big boss. The lower creative realms are a real testing ground for the little human minds. So we shall see who has the strength and courage to be something wonderful for themselves. The belief system businesses, metaphysical and psychic paths, along with Durwood, Gerald and Crony, have misguided a lot of people to the point they are once again saturated with a lot of mind stuffing and no real guidance or real freedom. So we shall see, she said, as Rebazar popped onto the view screen. Hello, you two. You have done an excellent job putting a lot into this book already, and we still have to go over so much more. So we will skip those other lifetimes for now that you and Dwayne have had together and move into the dialogues, said Rebazar as he smiled at us. That was some of New Book 5 of the Adventure Is series by Dwayne the Great Writer. Everybody is invited to become involved with the new presentation and the projects that are in development, like the Total Universal Rainforest and the Nations United Universal University and the homeschooling. If a person is curious or interested, can start by singing the new you song before you go to bed each evening and asking Rebazar or Paul, Rebazar Tars, Paul Twitchell, what is real now? If you want to know. I'll be having another Blog Talk Radio show next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Saving Time. See ya.